Hey guys, and welcome to the school station. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about specialized cells in animals. This is from the AQA GCSE Biology 91 paper from the unit Cells and Organization. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about specialized cells in animals. So these are the four main examples that you will have to know for your exam, and also its special adaptations and features that it has to be a specialized cell. So let's just get right into the video. So before getting into our lesson, I wanted to just recap through what are animal and plant cells. Animal and plant cells are examples of eukaryotic cells. I actually made a video about eukaryotic cells and what they are, so definitely go and check it out. Animal cells are cells that are in animals, including humans. And plant cells are cells that are in plants. They make their own food by photosynthesis. So what this means is that animal cells are basically any cell that are in animals. There are over 200 types of cells, but these are cells that are in animals, including humans, because us humans are animals as well. And they basically all have different subcellular features. Plant cells, on the other hand, are cells that are in plants, and then obviously we know that plants make their own food by photosynthesis, while us humans and animals, we have to search for our food, but they actually make their own food by photosynthesis. So that's basically the recap about what are animal and plant cells. But as I said earlier, there are over 200 different types of cells, and we're going to be talking about this more further on. So now we're actually going to be talking about very specific types of cells. What are specialized cells? Specialized cells are cells that have special features or characteristics that help them perform their job. So what this literally means is that they are basically special cells, and the way I like to remember this is I just kind of think of them as cells that have been trained to do a specific job. For example, in real life, we obviously see that one person might be a doctor, another person might be a cleaner, another person might be a teacher, and they all have different types of jobs, and they actually have these special features and characteristics that help them. For example, a doctor may have a degree, and a cleaner might have had some training to before they started their jobs. So each of the jobs actually have a special feature or characteristics that help them perform their job. So now that we understand what are specialized cells, and we have to understand that they have specific features that help them to perform their job, now we can actually go on to look at these four main examples of specialized cells in animals. So as I said, there are animal cells, which are cells in animals, and plant cells, which are cells in plants. So today we're only going to be looking at 4 examples you must know in animals, and in the next video we're going to be looking at specialized cells in plants. So the 4 examples you must know are red blood cells, nerve cells, muscle cells, and sperm cells. So red blood cells are basically the cells that are in the body, and they actually and the job is to carry oxygen around the body, which you'll also have to know. You must know these 4 types of cells and their jobs and their special features, which I'm going to be talking about more in detail later on in this video. But red blood cells, they basically carry oxygen around their body, that's their job. Nerve cells passes electrical impulses around the body. Muscle cells contracts and relaxes for movement, and sperm cells fertilizes with egg cell and fuses with egg's genetic material to make new life. So again, as I said earlier, you have to know these 4 cells, you have to know their jobs, and you have to know their special features. But that's basically what the jobs are and the 4 cells that we're going to be looking at today. So the first example, or the first cell that I'm going to be talking about, is red blood cells. Red blood cells are basically special cells that actually they actually help to carry oxygen around the body, and they actually go through the blood, so they're transferring oxygen to the blood and transferring the oxygen around the body. So they actually have special features that help them to do that. The first thing is that they contain hemoglobin, which is a special pigment that combines/carries oxygen. Okay, so they actually contain this special kind of chemical/pigment that actually carries the oxygen. Okay, the second thing is that they have a no nucleus, which means that there's more space for hemoglobin, so more oxygen, because obviously these red blood cells, they have to be really thin and small so that many red blood cells can quickly go through the body and, transfer more oxygen. So since they have more nucleus, there is actually more space for hemoglobin, which is what carries the oxygen. So there's going to be more oxygen, and it's also going to be more smaller so that it can actually quickly go through the body. Next is that it is disc shaped with a dent on each side, which creates a large surface area for gas exchange. We obviously have to understand that they actually have a very large surface area so that they can actually exchange the gases, because obviously they're trying to get in as much oxygen as possible, and also they're trying to get carbon dioxide outside of the body. And last of all, there is also a large surface area compared to volume, so oxygen is always close to the surface. You always see that there is always red blood cells, so that it allows you to carry oxygen around the body. The next example is nerve cells. As you can see, this is how a nerve cell looks like, and there is a nucleus, these special things called dendrites. They have a cell body, they have myelin, they have axon, and they also have an axon ending. So now I'll specifically talk to you guys about each of the features. So there are basically lots of dendrites. So they're specialized to carry electrical impulses around the body of an animal. So they actually have to send basically messages around the body. So first of all, they have lots of dendrites to make connections to other nerve cells so that they can basically quickly get the electrical impulse around the body. It also has an axon over here, which actually carries a nerve impulse from one place to another, and they can also be very, very long. So the longest axon in your body runs from the base of your spine to your big toe, which means that it's super long, so that it can actually carry the nerve impulse from one place to another. And the last very special feature that it has is actually nerve endings or synapses, which is not actually in this specific diagram, but nerve cells actually have synapses which are adapted to pass the impulses to another cell or between a nerve cell and a muscle in the body using special transmitter chemicals. And nerve cells also contain a lot of mitochondria so that they can actually have the energy to move around, because mitochondria is basically the powerhouse. It releases aerobic respiration for energy, so therefore nerve cells contain a lot of mitochondria so that they have more energy to basically move around, and it can provide the energy needed to make the transmitter chemicals. So now we're going to go on to muscle cells. So muscle cells are basically, their job is to actually contract and relax so that they can actually allow you to move. So basically, they contract and relax in pairs to move the bones of the skeletons. So what we have to really understand is that obviously these are the three types of muscle cells over here in this diagram. So first of all, they actually they contain special proteins that slide over each other, making the fibers contract. So what happens over here is that they actually have these very small proteins in the muscles, and they actually slide over each other so that it can make the fibers contract, and that's why they can contract and relax. They also again contain many mitochondria, just like the muscle cells, so that they can get more energy to transfer the energy needed for chemical reactions that take place as the cells contract and relax. Again, mitochondria is needed for energy to be transferred. At the same time, they also store glycogen, which is actually a chemical that can be broken down and used in cellular respiration by the mitochondria to transfer the energy needed for the fibers to contract. So glycogen is basically a very important chemical that is actually used for cellular respiration. So therefore, these are basically all the different types of features that muscle cells have to allow you to move. And the last cell that we're going to be talking about is sperm cells. So sperm cells actually again have very important features as well to actually allow to be able to go to the egg and fuse with this egg's genetic material to make a new life. So the first feature that it has is an acrosome. The acrosome actually stores digestive enzymes for breaking down the outer layers of the egg. The second thing it has is the cell membrane. The cell membrane actually it's just a normal feature on the sperm cell. The next thing we have is the nucleus, and inside the sperm cell there's a very large nucleus because it contains the genetic material to be passed on, because one of the jobs of the sperm cells is to fuse with the egg's genetic material. So it actually has 23 chromosomes. And last of all, not last of all, but it does have a middle section over here which is filled with mitochondria, because if you didn't know, in sexual reproduction there is like millions of sperm cells racing to the egg, and obviously only one of them goes through. So these, while the sperm cells are traveling, they actually need lots of mitochondria to actually be able to move very, very fast, and so that they have the energy to go through the whole journey. So this is why they have a lot of mitochondria, so that they can do aerobic respiration and they can give that energy for the tail to work. And they also have this, last of all, this long tail, which is, this very long tail, and it actually whips from side to side to help move the sperm through water or the female reproductive system. So that's basically what sperm cells are and its special features. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson about the four main examples of cells, specialized cells in animals. Just as an overview of what we have learned today, we were able to explain what specialized cells are. So specialized cells are basically cells that have special features or characteristics that help them perform their job. Remember them as, like, in real life, for example, we have doctors, we have teachers, we have lawyers, we have all these different types of people with different jobs, and they have been trained to a certain degree or a certain level to actually be able to do their job. We've also learned the four main examples of specialized cells in animals. There are nerve cells, muscle cells, red blood cells, and sperm cells. And last of all, we've also learned their jobs and characteristics. So these are very important to know for the exam. So really hope you guys enjoy this video. Give this video a thumbs up if it's helped you, and subscribe to the School Station for more free science and maths lessons. Bye guys!